Gary Neville explains why Manchester United should make Erik Ten Hag decision. Manchester United legend Gary Neville has offered his thoughts on Erik Ten Hag as pressure continues to build on the Dutchman amid a nightmare campaign at Old Trafford. Gary Neville believes Erik Ten Hag should be given another season in charge at Manchester United. The Dutchman has come under increased pressure at United, with the Reds currently 6th in the Premier League table after crashing out of Europe in the group stages. New co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his Ineos Group are beginning to transform United's footballing operations, with Omar Barada arriving as CEO in the summer after Jason Wilcox joined as technical director. Performances have been a major issue for United this season, with Ten Hag's team conceding a huge number of shots throughout the campaign, contributing to a club record equaling 12 Premier League defeats. However, one saving grace for Ten Hag could be the FA Cup final against rivals Manchester City on May 25. And former United captain Neville has backed Ten Hag to remain at the club in 2024-25. He believes that the former Ajax boss should remain in post whilst Ineos make significant changes at Old Trafford. What I read was that there's no doubt that Ineos coming in provides an opportunity for Manchester United, but it also provides some vulnerability in the sense that you can see the changes that they are making all around the club, he told Sky Sports. He's almost last man standing when it comes to the senior people in the club. The CEO has got, the interim CEO has gone. The CFO has gone, the technical director has been moved, and the sporting director's gone. In the next couple of months, obviously, Manchester United will make a decision on Erik Ten Hag for next season, but I felt more certain, I said a couple of weeks, I hope he gets another season to sort of prove, and said the same with Mauricio Pochettino at Chelsea. I felt more certain after having spoke to him and seeing the sort of reaction today of United fans that he's always had a lot of support from United fans. United fans don't turn on the manager, and I felt that he would be in a position to stay one more year. Look, some of the performances have been really poor and unforgivable at times. You think of what happened in the semi-final against Coventry. Some of the performances in the league that we've seen have been terrible. I do feel that giving Erik Ten Hag one more season will definitely work for Ten Hag. I think the fans, to be fair, wouldn't have a problem with it. And I think even for Ineos to allow them just to bed into the club and not have to think about replacing a manager in the next couple of months. Erik Ten Hag future decided, Bayern Munich swap, Thomas Tuchel to Manchester United, verdict given. Manchester United face a big decision over the future of manager Erik Ten Hag this summer. Erik Ten Hag's future remains in doubt as Manchester United's season edges closer to completion. The men reported in February Ten Hag's position at the club was in doubt, and recent results have done nothing to help ease the pressure on the Dutchman. Ineos Group are understood to have analysed potential replacements for Ten Hag should they decide a change of manager is required in the coming months. Brighton coach Roberto de Zerbi is believed to be one manager of particular interest. Another name that has been mentioned is former Chelsea boss Thomas Tuchel, who will leave Bayern Munich at the end of the current campaign. Sky Germany have today claimed Ten Hag is being discussed as a possible replacement for Tuchel, raising the possibility of a straight swap between the clubs. Should this be an option United look to explore in the coming weeks? Men writers have had their say, below. Stephen Railston. Richard Arnold has gone, John Murtough has departed, and it feels likely Ten Hag will follow them through the exit door as Ratcliffe shapes the football club in his image. United have regressed this season. They are a poorly coached team, they concede too many shots, their press is dysfunctional, and they give the opposition acres of space to exploit between the defence and midfield, which are all problems Ten Hag has failed to solve. One of the reasons to keep Ten Hag is the lack of alternatives, but suggesting there's no manager on the market who could do better with his resources is foolish. So, is Thomas Tuchel capable of succeeding Ten Hag? Absolutely, but there are a few red flags that cannot be ignored. Tuchel signed Harry Kane for Bayern Munich last summer and still couldn't win the Bundesliga, and only won the league last season after a final day capitulation from Borussia Dortmund. On the other hand, he seems to be the best choice from an uninspiring list of candidates. Tuchel has fluttered his eyelids at United in the past. He possesses the personality to manage at the biggest club in England and has a track record of winning major trophies. His tactics aren't associated with the United way, but Ineos have ushered in a new era at the club, and perhaps they will deem Tuchel a worthy first appointment. I'm sitting on the fence with Tuchel because it's easy to argue the pros and cons for an arrival at Old Trafford. Tom Cavilla. It's hard to see how Ten Hag takes United to the next level based on how the last 2 years have played out. The former Ajax coach has struggled to build on his first season at the club, which brought some level of success in the form of a Carabao Cup and a top-4 finish. This campaign has not gone to plan, with the only hope of silverware this month's FA Cup final against Manchester City. Tuchel made his mark at Chelsea, winning the Champions League in his first season at Stamford Bridge, and would bring Premier League experience to Old Trafford. This summer feels like the right time for Sir Jim Ratcliffe to continue his restructuring of the club, applying this to the person standing in the dugout. Tuchel, if backed in the transfer market, stands a strong chance of delivering an instant improvement. It would also see him reunited with Mason Mount, a player he brought the best out of during his spell coaching Chelsea. Mount will be hoping for a big year after an injury-hit debut season and would likely receive a confidence boost if working under the German once again. Jack Flintham. The more this season continues to limp on for United, the harder it is to see Ratcliffe being won over by the arguments that Ten Hag makes to keep his job. Yes, injuries have been unprecedented this year and we should rightly be sympathetic, but United are by no means the only club to have struggled with that. Some of the performances have been nothing short of embarrassing, and while the players will take the blame for that, Ten Hag must shoulder that responsibility too. The final blow to his premiership likely came in the semi-final collapse against Coventry City, and now the question is whether or not there is a good enough replacement for the Dutchman. Tuchel would perhaps not be the first choice considering Bayern Munich's Bundesliga performance this season, but perhaps credit for that should be handed to Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen. Munich's displays in the Champions League could arguably be more representative of his talents as a manager. It is hard to argue with Tuchel's record as a manager, and you feel a complete clearing of all the decks would only help whoever is in the hot seat next season. Does he have enough about him to change United around? Only time will tell, but he perhaps commands greater unity than Graham Potter, Gareth Southgate, or even Ten Hag. Isaac Johnson. I think this prospect would clearly be better for Ten Hag than Tuchel. To move to Bayern after failing at United would be quite extraordinary and highlights the lack of manager options out there. The German giants are currently a vastly more attractive prospect for players, with Ten Hag this week taking umbrage with United's lack of transfer pulling power. As for Tuchel, he has a record for moaning about football operations. At Chelsea, he didn't see eye to eye with Todd Boehly, and he has caused friction at both PSG and now Bayern. Despite his command over a dressing room, the German would be a risky choice for Ratcliffe to pick as his first hire when he is undergoing a structural revamp. With new technical director Jason Wilcox through the door, Omar Barada set to arrive as CEO, and Dan Ashworth inevitably becoming sporting director, United need a smooth ride into the new era and not another Jose Mourinho-like capitulation. Isaac Silakan. Julian Nagelsmann would have been my choice to replace Ten Hag if the Dutchman leaves Old Trafford this summer. Nagelsmann's teams play modern, attacking football, and he has experience of managing a big club, having been unfairly sacked by Bayern Munich last year. But the 36-year-old will not be on the market after he signed a new deal with the German national team, so Thomas Tuchel may be the next best option for Ineos. One major concern is the German's volatility, combined with the fact that he has enjoyed little success since guiding Chelsea to winning the Champions League almost 3 years ago. However, there are no potential candidates out there who won't represent a risk. Zinedine Zidane speaks very little English and has only managed one team before in Real Madrid, a club he knows well. Gareth Southgate can hardly be considered an elite-level manager, having only coached Middlesbrough at club level. Roberto de Zerbi, meanwhile, has endured a torrid 2024 at Brighton. Tuchel may not be ideal, but with Ten Hag's position looking increasingly untenable, he represents Ineos' best bet this summer to turn United around. Amy Wilson. Talk over Erik Ten Hag's future at United beyond this season doesn't seem to be going away, and a solution could be a type of swap deal with Bayern for Tuchel. It does solve the managerial search for Bayern and brings in an instant replacement for Ten Hag at United. While I'm not someone who likes to see constant change in the dugout for clubs, given the changes elsewhere at the club, it could be time for Sir Jim Ratcliffe to bring in his own man and in effect start again. Some of the performances on the pitch this season has suggested that a change could be needed. It would be a good move to Ten Hag, going back to a club that he knows after spending 2 years with the reserve team. For United, it would see them bring in someone who has a proven managerial record. Although the end of his time at Chelsea didn't go to plan, he did lead them to Champions League glory and 2 FA Cup finals. He can be quite a divisive character. If that is what United need at the minute is under question.